Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are taking a look at the second to last of these current Dinomania figures I have to review, and this one is their Velociraptor. You can see clearly looking at it, it does have a somewhat similar look as far as the paint scheme to Velociraptor Blue, but not exactly, and there are some areas that definitely don't look like Blue, and I feel like the intentions were to make it look similar to Blue, but not exactly. I don't think they wanted it to actually be a Velociraptor Blue figure because, like, just areas in general, like the throat here having a reddish coloration, it's very obvious that Blue does not have that in the film. But overall, I think it looks like a pretty cool looking, very creepy movie monster style Velociraptor, so let's go ahead and get a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of this Velociraptor, you can see some really nice skin texture for the majority of the head. Of course, it immediately is not scientifically accurate because it's not a feathered Velociraptor. It's clearly more based on like a Jurassic Park style Velociraptor or Jurassic World, or just in general the older style of Velociraptor before we realized that they did in fact have feathers. So we're immediately going to dismiss scientific accuracy and just look at this for what it is, a very cool looking, almost Jurassic Park like Velociraptor, but the skin texture does look really quite nice. The detailing around the eye also looks pretty darn nice, I will say that. And just like the Torosaurus and Eudimorphodon, we have a really cool eye here, kind of that glass eye type eye, and with a really nice detailed appearance to the inside of the eye. I really love that, and again, just look at how cool that makes the entire thing look. It really does have such a more striking and realistic look with the eye like that. I love that. You can see the skin flap down here on the inside of the mouth sports some pretty nice detailing, but it's just the same similar color of the face, which is something that can definitely happen, but I usually like to have the same type of color for the inside of the mouth be the color of the skin flap, but at the same time it does look fairly realistic on the figure. You can see the teeth are sculpted pretty much individually, and they also have a nice off-white color for the coloration of the teeth. The inside of the mouth is sculpted quite nicely, actually. You can really see the nice detailing here of the teeth on the lower jaw. You can also see the tongue is sculpted out in there. And then looking up here at the inside of the mouth on the upper side, again, some pretty darn nice detailing in there. Really quite nicely sculpted. As we start to move down the neck, you can see lots of creasing in the skin going on, and that creasing continues, kind of showing the movement of the dinosaur a little bit there. Also some nice skin folding going on right here in the throat, due to the lower jaw being open so wide because of it. I don't know if it's going to attack or if it's kind of letting out some sort of a noise, but it would be scrunching the skin up right there, and that's really nicely shown throughout the sculpt. And the creasing in the skin looks great because of that dark wash they include. Really brings the detail out there really quite nicely. Again, the throat has like a reddish coloration, which I really do like that. I always like a dinosaur that has like that red throat appearance, especially on a predator. I think it helps to give it kind of a menacing look a little bit. We do also have this blue that borders around the eye and then starts to run down the neck. Again, like I had stated, similar to Velociraptor Blue from Jurassic World, but at the same time, the paint doesn't look exactly like that, so it's maybe just sort of like inspiration from that paint scheme that we have on this figure. Especially considering up here on the top of the dinosaur, you can see it's more of a black coloration than anything. You don't have a gray like you see on Blue, so they've kind of painted this in their own version of like their own Velociraptor Blue. You also have some really nice scaling up here on the top of the head as well. And then moving down here into the body, you can get down here into the arm. The arm has kind of a nice sculpt right here with some nice muscle tone. You can see the shoulder blade a little bit there, and also the skin kind of playing off of the arm there. As far as the movement goes, the arms are really nice and long, and the hands in general have a very Jurassic Park type of a look to them. I will definitely say that. They really resemble the Jurassic Park Velociraptor hands. You got some nicely sculpted out nails as well. Moving up here into the stomach, you can see some pretty nice skin texture, which is once again brought out really nicely with that dark wash. Also a nice light gray for the primary lower body coloration, and you can see the blue kind of starts to like scatter a little bit and kind of has like a weird design to it right here. The blue is a little bit too thick, I think, of the paint that they've used, but at the same time it still doesn't look terrible or anything. It looks pretty decent. It's just not perfect. Nice detailing here in the thigh. You can see some very nice muscle tone, nice creasing in the skin as well. As we come down the leg into the foot sculpt, Again, really nice Jurassic Park style Velociraptor foot sculpt, beautiful scoot-like appearance down the toes. You've got a really nicely painted, very menacing looking sickle claw right there, and also is given a nice gloss on the claws to help them shine quite realistically. And then moving out into the tail, again it has that really nice skin texture. There's no real scaling or anything to the figure, you don't see scales, and you just see a really cool, nice kind of like creases in the skin and nice cracks and crevices, beautiful looking skin texture. You can also see that blue stripe ends right here, but then it picks up very briefly here in the tail for a little bit and then fades away once again. And the rest of the tail is very, very long. You can see how long that tail is, but it's sculpted quite nicely and also painted quite nicely. And then looking at the opposing side, the head sculpt, once again, exactly like we saw on the previous side. For the most part, the entire figure is going to look very similar to what we saw on the previous side. Same blue stripe, same detailing here in the neck for the most part. The only real difference that I can see is the placement of the arm. You can see this arm is back a little bit further than this arm, and it's kind of pulled into the body just a little bit more, but the sculpting and detailing all looks very similar. Nice musculature here once again. Beautiful detailing here in the stomach as far as the skin texture, which you can see is really nicely brought out with that dark wash. Really nice skin folding and everything going on down here. Very large thighs, nice and muscular like we saw on the previous side. As we move down here into the foot again looks really, really nice, beautifully painted as far as the nails and everything go with that nice sickle claw. Looks very menacing like we saw on the previous side. And I think the paintwork honestly is really nice. It's nothing flashy, but for the most part it looks pretty darn good, I will say that. And once again, that dark wash brings the detail out really beautifully. As you lead out the tail, you can see the nice skin texture, and again that little area of that blue where it shows up before it fades away out to that very, very long tail. The tail's super long. If we look at the underside also sports some really nice detailing. Again, you can see Dinomania here and Made in Mexico over there. But as we look at the skin texture and everything on the underside, it also looks really, really cool. So for the most part, this is a really nice kind of an ode to blue, but with a very Dinomania type of a flair. So as far as a size goes, and just like the other Dinomania figures, this is probably going to be very hard to do because it is very large. But as far as a length goes, if we start with the hardest probably of the bunch to do, and we take this tail and go all the way to the end of the tail, you're looking at about 26 3/4 inches or about 68 centimeters in length. And for a height, the highest point is obviously going to be the head. So if we go to the top of the head, you are looking at about 9.5 inches or around 24 centimeters, maybe a little bit more. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Peppo T-Rex, Robert Muldoon in the Attack Pack Colovosaurus next to our extremely large Velociraptor figure, and you can definitely see that once again the Dinomania figure that we have here to review is massive. It is absolutely huge, just like all of the others have been so far. These Dinomania figures are extremely impressive as far as their size goes, but also the really nice sculpt and paint included. So this Dinomania Jurassic Park style Velociraptor is really quite nice. It's probably not the best Jurassic Park Velociraptor you'll ever see, and it's definitely not a Velociraptor blue figure, even though it does have a very similar appearance to it. As far as a non-feathered Velociraptor goes, I really do quite like this version. You can consider this either an ode to Jurassic Park and blue specifically, or just an ode to the old school as far as a more vintage looking Velociraptor. But at the same time, I still think it does look really quite nice. It has some really nice detail. Beautiful eye for sure. I love that kind of glass eye effect they do with these, especially in these ones like this, the Torosaurus and the Eudimorphodon, where it has like a more detailed eye. They really look beautiful. The sculpt of this is pretty cool as well. It's kind of got like crouched legs. It almost appears as though maybe it's about to jump up at you and maybe attack, because the legs are definitely crouched down. I think that's a pretty cool looking pose. It's nothing over the top, and they've somehow managed to even include with the crouching pose, it sort of is in like a neutral position, so it's really cool the way they've done that. Definitely a really nice sculpt overall. As far as things like the hands look great, the feet look beautiful, the skin texture looks really nice. And in general, the paint application also looks really good. The only area of the paint that's not great is that blue stripe, because it looks a little more like paint than body color. But even that isn't so bad. It's not half bad at all. And with that nice dark wash included, it really brings the detail out quite beautifully. and helps the figure to look really quite realistic, aside from the blue stripe anyway. So once again, I am impressed by the Dinomania line even further now with this very cool non-feathered version of a Velociraptor. So if you want to pick this up, I will include a link in the description to where you can do just that on the Dinomania website. Just like I've said in every review so far, if you do get there and you see the prices look like they're a little bit too high, that's because they are in Mexican dollars. So if you are in the United States or somewhere else, your price is probably going to vary quite a bit from what you see there. So just give it a Google search and translate that price in Mexican dollars to US dollars, or wherever you are from. You'll have a good idea how much whatever figure you are interested in is actually. So again, make sure you do head down to the description. I will have a link straight to this figure exactly on their website. Pick this up if you would like. And also make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.